Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to share with you our topic, Class 6 Science Chapter 14, Water. Today, we'll explore the fascinating world of water, its importance, uses, and some interesting facts. So let's get started and dive into the wonderful world of water. Today, I'll walk you through the topics we'll cover in this presentation. We'll start with an introduction to water and why it's so vital. Then, we'll look at the various uses of water and explore the reasons behind water shortages that many regions face. Next, we'll delve into the water cycle, understanding how water moves through different stages like evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. We'll also examine the different states of water, solid, liquid, and gas, and where we find water sources around us. Finally, I'll explain the collection process, which is how we gather and store water for our needs. All these points are interconnected, helping us grasp the importance of water and the need to manage it wisely in our world today. Today, we will be exploring several important topics related to water. We'll start by asking, what is water? Then, we'll look into the many uses of water in our daily lives. Next, we'll discuss why water is so vital to us and the role it plays in maintaining our health and well-being. We'll also cover the water cycle, which is a fascinating natural process that keeps water moving around us. Additionally, we'll examine the different states of water, solid, liquid, and gas, and how they are part of this cycle. Finally, we'll address a very important issue, why there is a shortage of water in many parts of the world. Understanding these points will give us a clearer picture of water's significance and the challenges we face in conserving it. Let's start with an interesting fact. About 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. That's a huge part of our planet. This water is made up of tiny molecules, each consisting of 2 hydrogen atoms bonded to 1 oxygen atom. We write this as H2O. This simple chemical formula actually tells us a lot about water's properties. Pure drinking water, for example, has no smell, no taste, and no color. It's essentially clear and neutral. Understanding what water is at a molecular level helps us appreciate its importance and why it's essential for life. Throughout this presentation, we'll explore water's role in our environment, health, and daily life, so keeping this basic knowledge in mind will be very helpful. Now, let's take a look at the many uses of water. As you can imagine, water is incredibly vital and has a wide range of applications in our daily lives. It's essential for drinking, obviously, but it doesn't stop there. Water is also crucial for agriculture, helping us grow the food we eat. Industries depend on water too, whether for manufacturing processes or cooling systems. Additionally, water plays a key role in sanitation and hygiene, keeping our environment clean and healthy. It's fascinating to see how interconnected water is with almost every aspect of life, which really underscores the importance of conserving this precious resource. Remember, understanding these uses helps us appreciate why protecting water sources is so vital for our future. Now, let's take a look at the domestic purposes for water. Water is essential in our daily lives for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, drinking is probably the most obvious use. Staying hydrated is vital for our health. Beyond that, water is crucial for washing, whether it's doing laundry or cleaning our clothes. Bathing and brushing our teeth are other key personal hygiene practices that depend on clean water. And of course, water plays a big role in cleaning our homes and maintaining hygiene overall. These uses highlight just how integral water is to our everyday routines, connecting to the overall theme of water's importance in sustaining daily life. So let's talk about why there's a shortage of water. First, did you know that about 97.4% of all the water on Earth is in seas and oceans? The problem is, we can't use most of that water directly because it's saltwater, which isn't suitable for drinking or agriculture. A lot of fresh water is actually stored in glaciers and polar ice caps, which are hard to access. That means, in reality, only around 0.01% of all the water on Earth is available for us to use. Now, aside from these natural limitations, the growing population is putting even more pressure on our freshwater resources. More people mean more demand for water, whether for drinking, farming, or industry. And then, there are weather-related issues too. Some areas experience floods that can damage water supplies, while others suffer from prolonged droughts that dry up water sources for years. All these factors combined make water scarcity a complex challenge, and it connects directly to the overall theme we're exploring: how we manage and conserve this precious resource for the future. Water is absolutely essential for life. You know, a person can survive for several weeks without food, but without water, life simply can't last more than a few days. It's truly vital. Water plays a key role in our digestion, helping break down food and absorb nutrients efficiently. It also helps distribute those nutrients throughout our body, reaching all the different parts that need them. In fact, about 70% of the human body is made up of water, which shows just how important it is for our health. And it's not just humans, plants rely on water too. They use water, along with carbon dioxide from the air, to make their food through photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. So, water isn't just a drink. It's a fundamental part of life processes for all living things, connecting directly to the overall theme of understanding why water is so crucial for survival and health. Now, let's take a look at the various sources of water that sustain our needs. First, we have rainwater, which is one of the most natural and abundant sources. Rainwater replenishes many water sources and plays a vital role in maintaining the water cycle. Next, there's groundwater, which is stored beneath the Earth's surface in aquifers. Groundwater is often accessed through wells and is a crucial source for both drinking water and irrigation. Then we have surface water, which includes rivers, lakes, and streams. Surface water is easily accessible and visible, making it a key resource for many communities. Understanding these sources helps us appreciate the importance of water conservation and management, especially as these sources can be affected by climate change and human activity. All these sources are interconnected parts of the overall water cycle, highlighting how essential it is to protect and sustainably use our water resources. Now, let's talk about the water cycle. This is essentially the journey of water as it moves through our environment. It all starts with water on the land or in bodies of water like lakes and oceans. From there, the water gets heated by the sun, which causes it to evaporate and turn into water vapor, rising into the sky. Once in the atmosphere, this vapor cools and condenses to form clouds. When these clouds become heavy enough, the water falls back to the ground as precipitation, rain, snow, or other forms. This process then repeats as water collects in rivers, lakes, or seeps into the soil, continuing the cycle. What's important here is understanding how this cycle maintains the balance of water on Earth, supporting all living things. It connects directly to the overall theme of how natural processes sustain life and keep our environment in harmony. The water cycle is truly a fundamental part of our planet's health and stability. So let's talk about the four main stages of the water cycle. First up is evaporation. This is when the sun heats up water in rivers, lakes, or oceans, turning it into water vapor that rises into the air. It's like the water is transforming into gas and floating upward. Next is condensation. After the water vapor rises, it cools down and turns back into tiny droplets, forming clouds. This process is really important because it helps gather the moisture needed for the next stage. Then we have precipitation. When the clouds become heavy enough, the water droplets fall back to the earth as rain, snow, sleet, or hail, depending on the temperature. This is how water returns to the land and water bodies. Finally, collection. This is where the water collects back into rivers, lakes, or oceans, ready to go through the cycle all over again. These stages are interconnected and crucial for maintaining the balance of water on our planet. Understanding this cycle helps us see how water moves and sustains life everywhere. All right, let's talk about evaporation. So evaporation happens when the sun heats up water in things like rivers, lakes, or even oceans. When this happens, the water doesn't just stay liquid. Instead, it turns into vapor or steam. Essentially, the water molecules gain enough energy from the sun to break free from the surface and become gas. This vapor then leaves the water body and rises into the air. This process is really important because it's a key part of the water cycle. It helps move water from the surface into the atmosphere. And, as we'll see later, this vapor can eventually cool and condense back into liquid, forming clouds. So, evaporation is fundamental in maintaining the balance of water on Earth and supporting life as we know it. Now, let's talk about condensation. When water vapor in the air gets cold enough, it changes back into liquid water. This process is what we call condensation. It's a key part of the water cycle because it's how clouds form. As the vapor cools, tiny water droplets gather together, creating those visible clouds in the sky. This step is crucial because it leads to precipitation, bringing water back to the Earth's surface. So, in essence, condensation is the transformation of water vapor into liquid, and it's a vital link connecting evaporation and precipitation in the cycle. Precipitation occurs when the air becomes so saturated with water vapor that it can't hold anymore. When that happens, the water molecules in the clouds start to condense and gather together. As these water droplets or ice particles grow larger, the clouds become heavy. Once they reach a certain point, gravity pulls the water back down to the Earth. This process results in different forms of precipitation, like rain, hail, sleet, or snow, depending on the temperature conditions. Understanding precipitation is key to grasping the water cycle and how moisture moves through our environment, which is essential for weather patterns and climate. So, when water falls back to the Earth through precipitation, it has a few different paths it can take. It might flow directly into the oceans, lakes, or rivers, or it might land on land instead. When it lands on land, it can do one of two things. It can either soak into the ground, becoming part of the groundwater that plants and animals rely on for drinking water. Or it can run over the soil's surface and eventually collect in the oceans, lakes, or rivers, where the water cycle begins all over again. This process highlights how interconnected everything is. Every drop of water plays a part in maintaining the balance of our ecosystems. That's why saving water is so important, because it helps ensure that this natural cycle continues smoothly. Remember, by conserving water, we're not just protecting resources, we're also helping to save our planet. So let's keep in mind, save water, save Earth.